My name is Darla and I'm in San Diego, California. Many of you know me from the hair industry. I used to own high-end hair salons in Palm Springs. I had a total of 5 locations. We had 49 employees at our peak, and we serviced 16,000 clients in the what is referred to as the Coachella Valley. I wanted to own the first day spa in the desert, not connected to a resort. I wanted it to be the most expensive place around, and I wanted to cater to all the people with money. That was my dream, and that's what I did. It took me 19 years, but we made ourselves all the way up into the top 100 fastest growing salons in the country. And we were a school. We trained people how to do hair. We didn't work with people who came out of beauty school. Okay, I want you to think about that. Somebody who was in the top 100 fastest growing salons with the most expensive prices around, that was a school, and your hair was being done by people in training, which meant we fried your hair, colored it wrong, and cut it bad before we got it right. And you stuck with us and stayed with us all through time. I appreciate that. All of my followers out there, that I truly appreciate you sticking with us through all that. I still have a lot of friends that were clients in my salon days back then. That was a long time ago. The crash of 2008 took me out of the game, but put me in the game. And I'm going to explain to you what that means. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be out of the hair salon industry. I was building my legacy for my inheritance for my daughter. I was going to own the largest chain of salons out in the Coachella Valley, the Palm Springs area. That was my dream. I wasn't going to do anything else. I didn't do well in high school. I dropped out of high school in my senior year and finished in independent studies and went right on to beauty school. Couldn't hold a job very long. Back then, I didn't realize I was dyslexic. I kept getting fired from jobs for not being able to balance because I couldn't do math to add things properly. So I went to beauty school, but I did really well in beauty school. I found my niche. I found my passion. I loved making people look beautiful. And then I got out of beauty school and got my first job. And I was very fortunate when I was young to have a good mentor that instilled in me to not to work for the boss, but to be the boss. Don't work for the boss, be the boss. That's all they told me. Don't work for the boss, be the boss. Well, I went and worked for the boss long enough to learn how to be the boss. And then I went and became the boss and started in my first salon and worked really hard. I worked hard. But one thing that I learned really early is that I couldn't create wealth with the works of my own 2 hands, meaning I could only do as many heads of hair in a day that these hands could do. And I worked really hard. I worked so hard that I've had 6 discs replaced in my back, and I am now officially handicapped to my own trade. I don't have a hair license anymore. I was already done with doing hair by the time the crash of 2008 came. But by that time, I had learned leverage. I want you guys to learn the word leverage. Leverage is learning how to create money from the efforts of other people. Most people refer to them as employees. Okay? They're employees that work for you. You're either an employee making money for a boss, or you're the boss making money from employees. It's one of the two. And it takes a lot of employees to work for the bosses. That's why corporations have so many employees. Big businesses have so many employees. Who's the most wealthiest family on the planet? I don't know who it is now, but it used to be the Waltons. Walmart, the Walmart family. Do you think they shop at Walmart? I don't think they shop at Walmart, but they make their money off of a lot of employees. I learned leverage. I learned that I needed an army of these things working for me and with me in order to be able to create wealth. I was doing $3 million a year in the top of my game in my salon world, and we were getting $100 and $200 for haircuts. It was nothing for people to drop $500 every 6 weeks to get their hair cut and colored, and we had a waiting list of 6 weeks. And when we would have a position become available and we were going to hire another stylist in training, we would get 200 applicants, and we would have to do like a speed dating interview program just to find the next person that was going to fill that seat. That's what we had created. It was the year of 2008 when this thing called the crash came. And I didn't expect it. it hit my clientele first because it hit the upper class. It was a stock market crash and the real estate crash. Well, my clients that were paying $500 to get their hair done quickly started dropping down to $400 and $300 and $200 salons very quickly. And we had just signed a lease to have our next $1 million, we call it $1 million location, because that's what it would have generated, was millions of dollars, on El Paseo, which is like Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. And we were pouring money into that thing so fast. Our payroll was $55,000 every 2 weeks, okay? We used to have a $100,000 credit line at the bank that we could dip into if we ever needed money. We never needed it though, because we were just fine. It was a year prior to that I was 100% debt-free, living in my dream house with $100,000 in our savings account, thought we did it all right. And then came this thing called the crash of '08, and everything started crumbling down quickly. Now, for those of you in network marketing, I want you to know that I owe you a very big apology. And that's why I come on here and do these free trainings and these heart-to-heart talks, because it's my way of giving back to an industry that I gave a very bad name to. For many years in my salon businesses, I did a lot of clients that were in network marketing, and I used to talk about them behind their back. And they used to try and get me to buy their products and come to their meetings and watch their deals and pitch me their things and order this and order that, and I never did. I would buy their product just to keep them happy because I didn't want them to quit being my client. So like I'd buy their skincare product and I'd buy their vitamins and stuff like that. But I never went to a presentation and I never saw a meeting and I never joined a company because I didn't need it. I want you to understand that 3 things must happen in life, like the perfect storm. Remember the movie The Perfect Storm? It takes desire and it takes knowledge and timing. But there must be a desire and the timing has to be right. I want to share my story with you. All those people that tried to get me to do network marketing that I never would entertain, it was because I didn't need it. I was doing so good. I was so busy. I had a vision. I was focused. I had blinders on. But most importantly, I was not educated. I was ignorant to the industry. I gave it a bad name because I was given it a bad name. I didn't have a mother or a father or a brother or a sister that had made millions of dollars in network marketing. I didn't know anyone. Looking back on life, now I did. I had an aunt and uncle. They were the most wealthiest aunt and uncles that we had in our entire family. And they were in this thing called Amway. And my mom used to use this soap called SA8 and LOC. And we did for years. We grew up on it. But I didn't know it was network marketing. Nobody taught me that was network marketing. All I knew is I had a really rich set of aunts and an aunt and uncle that lived in this beautiful, big, humongous home in Tennessee and Nashville that we used to go visit every summer. And that's what they did. And looking back as a little kid, they had boxes of this stuff in their garage, but I never knew what it was back then. Well, now I know what it is. Anyway, so back to my story. So the crash of '08 came, and I found myself quickly trying to figure out what I was going to do to finish the construction of the salon that was under construction, to cover my $55,000 payroll, to keep my homes, and to keep myself afloat. I didn't know what I was going to do. Now, on the side of not knowing what I was going to do, I had a local businessman driving me crazy to take a look at a business opportunity. I didn't want to look at it because I thought it was Amway. I don't have anything wrong with Amway today. Back then I did because I was uneducated and I was ignorant. Okay, I was ignorant to what I didn't know. And I used to tell people to stay away from those things. I feel bad about it, I really do, because people used to ask me, hey Darla, because they looked up to me. This is actually a lesson all in its own. Don't ask people their opinion about network marketing that are not professionals in network marketing. Just like you don't ask a drunk their opinion on your drinking problem. It just doesn't go hand in hand. Or you don't ask someone who hasn't had children advice about parenting and being a mother. Don't go there. You ask people that know how to make money about money. And so people would ask me opinions on network marketing because they looked up to me because I was a successful and accomplished business owner. I was businesswoman of the year in the largest business not connected to a resort and the anchor business in our town square, okay? So people looked up to me. I'd made millions of dollars. I was making millions of dollars. I did a lot of the celebrities, and a lot of people, anybody with money came to my salon. So therefore people looked up to me, but they were looking up to me in something I didn't have knowledge on. And shame on me for trying to give an opinion on that. I've learned a big lesson about that. And today I'm the first to tell you, when you ask me advice about something, I'm the wrong person to ask that advice on. If you want to ask me advice about building business and employees and communications and raising children and having a great marriage for 23 years and how to avoid the terrible twos and how to get your children to do things without telling them and how to get more love out of the ones you love and how to retain your customers and how to build a network of any kind, of any shape or form, whether it's a church of followers, fans for a movie, a network for your network marketing company, a network of customers to come into your door for business, I can answer you on all that. I'm not going to answer questions on math. I'm not going to answer you questions on history, on science. Don't even go there, because I can't even pretend to try. And I will be the first to tell you what I can and cannot give you professional advice on. And that's another tip. For those of you on Facebook, don't give advice where you don't have experience. It can cost people a lot of money. I cost a lot of people a lot of money by ruining their dream, by giving them bad advice. And so that's why I come here today, to open the vision and the minds for people from my backstory of education. So what prompted me to do this live today was, there's a guy out there called Eric Worre that everybody in network marketing knows, okay? If you don't know who Eric Worre is, you're not in network marketing. It's like not knowing who Jordan Adler is. You don't know who Jordan Adler is, and you don't know who Eric Worre is, you're not in network marketing. Anyway, Eric Worre is the author of the book Go Pro, and he's one of the most sought after trainers right now in the industry of network marketing. And he made a post in his group that says, just for fun, post the most amount of money you ever made in network marketing in 1 month. And there was like 900, there's over 1,000 comments in that post now, but it just brought me so much joy and so much reflection to watch all these numbers of people putting in there. And it's so real to someone like me, because I've done that, been there, and many of my friends are those people. And I know many people that make millions of dollars in this industry. Go Google this industry and you'll find it yourself. Network marketing is the second highest paid industry to professional league sports. Professional league sports is the highest paid industry, meaning that it pays one person the most millions of dollars for their trade and what they do. But look what they have to go through to get there. My goodness, that takes a real professional. And network marketing produces the most millionaires, meaning people that have made $1 million or $2 million or 10 and 20. There's a lot of big time millionaires, but millionaires, more millionaires than professional league sports can ever hold a candle to. And it's been around since the days of Avon. Remember Avon? Your grandma, your great grandma, your aunt did that so she could make a little bit of extra money while she was at home. And then came Tupperware. Remember that? Remember all those? There's tons of companies out there. It's referred to as network marketing or direct sales. They're all the same. You're building a network of customers and you're teaching other people how to do the same thing. It's all the same. And that's what I want to shed light on in this industry, because this industry gave my family their life back, and it's given a lot of my friends their life back as well. So back to my story. In 2008, I had a local businessman who had been driving me crazy to take a look at this business opportunity that I had a false perception of what it was that he was trying to show me. I kept asking him to tell me what it was about, but he was smart. He was a good network marketer. He didn't tell me anything. He said, when you have 30 minutes, I will show it all to you. I can't tell it to you in 5. And I'm so grateful that he did that, because all I needed was for him to give me one clue, and I was going to say, oh yeah, I'm very familiar with that. I'm not interested in that. Oh yeah, no thanks. Yeah, no thanks. And so he let the suspense, and he waited patiently for my timing to be right so he could provide me with the knowledge that I needed for it to all come together. So March 26th of 2008 is when that day was. He had been after me for months and I had turned him away. I had even been talking negatively behind his back because he was, in my mind, a stalker. He was driving me crazy. My stalker turned out to be my saint, wearing a disguise, you guys. I'm praying to God every day for a way to cover my payroll and not lose another salon and not have to lay off another employee. And how am I going to get out of this? Praying on my knees, crying myself to sleep. And here this guy is coming, driving me crazy. You know, I don't know if you've ever heard the story about the flood, the big flood, and the guy dies and goes to heaven and says, God, why didn't you save me? And he says, son, who do you think sent the boat, the plane, and the helicopter? Well, that was my story. This guy was coming relentlessly. Well, he wasn't a client of mine. He was kind of strange to me, to be honest with you, because I was like, why do you keep bothering me? He was bothering me. I'm really grateful that he kept bothering me. So if he would have been a client of mine and been willing to pay $100 for a haircut, I would have gave him my time. There's a little tip for all you network marketers out there that are after a hairdresser. Go make an appointment with them, spend your money and say, we're not doing hair, I want to talk to you. They'll give you their time. And so how the story goes, March 26th of 2008, I'm sitting at my desk. It's the day that the banks pull back the $100,000 credit lines. It happened to a lot of people that day. If you were in big business back then, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I got a call from the bank, a call they did not want to make because we were good friends. And they called to tell me that they weren't going to be able to cover my payroll that day. And I almost fell apart and lost it one last time. But it was what I needed. It was my rock bottom. It was what I needed. And I just was crying in my hands, praying for God for a way to just help me figure out my current situation. And that guy showed up in my lobby again that day. And I almost kicked him out one more time. But a little voice said, Darla, why won't you listen? And I thought, I wonder if this could be. So I went and listened, you guys. Best thing I ever did. I only gave him 30 minutes because that's all he wanted, but I ended up staying for almost 2 hours on my own accord. I drilled questions because when I saw that presentation, which today is still the worst presentation I ever saw because he was so nervous to show it to me back then. I didn't understand what I was looking at because it was about telecom, and I'm not a telecom girl. I don't know, it's funny because I'm telecoming and communicating with you right now, but it's not my thing. I'm not savvy at it. I have to learn every single thing I do. It's not natural to me. I can do your hair though. Anyway, I didn't understand what he was showing me, but I saw money. And I asked him some questions like, have you ever known anyone to make this kind of money? And he said, yeah. I said, how fast can someone make a paycheck? He said, a week. I said, do they have to pass a test? Do they have to take a test? Do they have to learn anything? And he said, no. And I said, introduce me to somebody that makes this kind of money because I need to talk to them. I want to ask them some questions because he wasn't making that kind of money, but he introduced me to somebody who was making money. And I got to know them. I said, I want to know your background. Do you have a college degree? No, it just so happened he didn't either. Did you take a test? No, he didn't either. How fast did it take you to make a paycheck? How fast did it take you to make your money back? How fast? What did you have to do? Did you have to pass it? I wanted to know all the details. I said, how many other people are making money like this? I want to meet them. And he said, well, we have a Facebook group. You can meet them right now. And he put me in this thing called a Facebook group. And I started listening to stories. And I started hearing their interviews. And I started watching them. And I was like, I could do this. I could do this. All they're doing is introducing something to someone and letting them decide if it makes sense for them or not. I get that. I do that every day in my chair at my salon. Every day in my salons, I consult with people every day to find out what it is that they want, that I can provide the service of to create the vision that they want. And I'm good at introducing them to all kinds of things. And they get to pick and choose what makes sense to them. And I was like, this makes sense. And then you teach other people how to do it. This makes sense. I did this with my salons. Well, mind you, I'm going to tell you a couple things that are going to help you with your network marketing journey. If you're in one or thinking of one or whatever. My husband told me not to do this. He told me these, not right. It wasn't the right time, babe. We need to figure out how to cover payroll. Not right now. Don't do this. We don't have any money, babe. We don't have any money for you to invest in to do something different. I know. I'm doing it anyway. I feel like I can do this. I believe I can do this. You guys, I didn't have the money to get started in network marketing, which is why I got started in network marketing. I was $20,000 overdrawn on my payroll account because they weren't going to cover it. I wrote a check for $720 that I didn't have, that I knew was not going to clear the bank. But I figured it out because I knew that I could do it. It made sense to me. And I've been rejected my whole life by trying to upsell people on hair services all the time. That's what you do in sales. So I was okay with it. I'm going to introduce people to things. I'm going to offer suggestions and solutions. They're either going to get it or they're not. And that's what I did. I didn't understand what I was doing. I got started. And I wouldn't have got started if I wasn't in the position of needing it. Okay? I was open. It was my time. So when I went to my first training, a lot of my customers were in that room and they said to me, "Who got you? Who got you?" And I said to them, "Why didn't you tell me about this? Why didn't you tell me about this?" Well, a lot of people preconceived and said, "Darla, we didn't think you needed it." When in reality, it was fear, because they would have been prospecting up. They were afraid to approach me because I was a strong business person and I was opinionated. Let's face it. Now I'm a giver and I'm a listener, and I will sit down and listen to everybody's businesses. I'm open. I released my closed-mindedness because it almost cost me my future. That first company ended up retiring my family and digging us out of our hole and retiring us, enabling us to be doing something we would never be able to do if we would still be in the salon industry. And that is travel the world and live anywhere you want to live. We leased $1 million home on wheels for 1 year and went on an unplugged vacation, traveled the country, shared our business around the country for 1 year with a $1 million RV with our daughter and homeschooled her. We learned what true freedom was about back then. So like any business, like my salons, and like every other business you see around here that goes out of business, business is business, whether it's offline or online, whether it's brick and mortar or click and mortar. They're all the same. They go out of business for one reason or another. My first business went out of business just like my salons went out of business for some of my best employees who I had to lay off, that were making 6 figures and doing very well, that I loved very well, but I had to lay them off. They got shut down on. Do you get it? People are getting laid off left and right now in the world of business. Companies have been shut down unexpectedly because of what happened back in '08 is happening right now again too. And it's causing people to be open to doing something different. And I want you to see an industry that can allow you to have a different kind of life by doing the same exact thing that your boss does, that you do, but it pays you differently because you're not limited to the city that you live in or the town that you can drive to or the places that you manufacture for. Being in network marketing allows you to have unlimited income potential because it doesn't go to sleep. The internet is open 24 hours a day. People live all over the world. There's billions of people in the world that are looking for what network marketing companies provide. They're either services or products. And there's billions of people everywhere that are looking for a way to make a little bit of money or a whole bunch of money. Everybody's wired differently. Some people only need to make a couple extra $100 a month. But let me tell you what happens when you figure out how much it costs to run your life, like your bills, your car payments, your phones, and your utilities, and your mortgage, and you learn how to make that in residual income. And residual income, I had never heard of it, you guys. I didn't know what residual income was until I got into network marketing and someone introduced me to the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you have never read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it will change your life because it will teach you how wealthy people make money. And that's what I began to teach on for the last 12 years. I teach on leverage plus residual income. When you marry the two together, you create residual leveraged income. What you wrap it in is your choice, whether it's a health and wellness company, whether it's an insurance policy, whatever. There's companies of all kinds. But leverage alone will not set you free because leverage alone is what I had in my salons. I was debt-free, making millions, but I was owned by my customers and my employees. When the two of them decided not to show up, there was no money being made. When the lights were not turned on every day, there was no transactions to happen. So therefore, when I was asleep, I was not making money. So I slept very little and worked a lot, but I had no life. It wasn't until I learned how to combine residual income with leverage that I was able to set myself free, buy my life back, own my days, and spend them wherever I want with who I want. I get to work when I choose, and I get to choose who I work with because I learned residual leverage income. Try saying it 5 times, 10 times real fast. It's hard. And I also learned about not putting all my eggs in one basket. I had all my eggs in one basket too many times. So therefore, every time a crash came, I crashed with the crash. Well, this crash is the first crash I made. I went through the crash of 92, '08, the crash of my first company, and the crash of my second company. And now I am so diversified in multiple streams of residual leveraged income that if anything crashed, I'm not going to crash because I created stability. And that's what I want to bring to light with you guys. So people always ask me, they're constantly sending me, you could make this much money with our company. I will give you a master position with our company. And all that is wonderful. I'm flattered. But I already went to a company for money. I went to my second company for money. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I paid my top stylists that worked for me before I started training them all how to do hair myself, them a lot of money to come work for me. And then other salons paid my trained, beautiful stylists that I hired a lot of money for them to go work for them. It happens all the time. There's nothing wrong with it. It's business. But what happened when I went to a company for money is I was in a prearranged marriage. There was no heart and emotion in that relationship. I was there for the money and I hated it. I didn't like it at all. It was all about the money, and I am not about the money anymore. I learned how to be about the people, and I learned how to care for people. So people ask me all of the time, they think that I'm just in send out cards. That's what they think. I'm not just in send out cards. I am a very diversified serial entrepreneur. I do a lot of things, but Send Out Cards is the company that I'm loud about. And the reason why is because Send Out Cards is the foundational tool that holds all my networks together. It is what puts me in the heart of another. It's the tool that every network marketer on the planet should be using to build culture and love on their people and to love on their family. And it will turn a stranger into a friend overnight. It will mend a broken relationship. It will show inspiration and encouragement to a new network marketer that has no support from their family. It will build a bond within yourself and within your team that is the reason why people stay with your network. You guys, I build one master network, and that is everybody. I build relationships with everybody. And here's a little tip of advice that I tell my network marketers as I go to coach with them. By you putting blinders on and only having relationships with the people that are in the company that you're with is very dangerous, because the chances of you dying in the company that you're with now are very slim. And I tell this to realtors too. The chances of you dying working for the company that you're working with right now are very slim. When you do decide to leave, or if something, God forbidden, happens to the company that you're in now, like what happened to me, not once, not twice, but 3 times, what are you going to need right there at your footsteps, by your side, when that day comes? A large group of people that love you, care about you, support you, and follow you, and believe in you because of who you are as a human being and an individual, not because of what product you sell, what company you work for, or what brand you represent. You are your brand. You have to learn how to build human connections with everyone. Learn how to touch a child today so that they know who you are. So when they turn 18, they want to look you up. They remember you. My mom taught me that as a young girl. My mom still has little kids that saved the quarter that she gave them. My mom was a banker, and she used to go visit the local schools, and she would give every kid a quarter, because a quarter to a kid was a big deal. And my mom would tell them something special about that quarter, and she taught them how to save that quarter. And she told them, save this quarter until you get older, and I want you to come find me and tell me that you saved this quarter. Learn to be a saver. My mom would do stuff like that. And that's where I learned my art of building human connections. And that's why every single time I'm in a crisis or something happens in my life, or I need to rebuild another network, I have a large group of people that come with me because of who I am, not what I represent or what company I'm with. And that's my biggest lesson I want to leave you with here today. When you learn how to master the art of human connections and tap into the riches of people, you attract an abundance of opportunities, referrals, friends, and love into your life. You will find yourself traveling the world, being invited to go visit people that are friends everywhere. You'll have posts on your Facebook daily of people telling you you're so beautiful and you're amazing, and you make them feel like nobody else does. And thank you for recognizing me. Take the time and learn the art of human connections. If you don't, you're going to remain a hunter. You're going to find yourself constantly recruiting, pitching, selling, and hunting. Switch to being an appreciator, an encourager, a lover, a connector, an inspirer, just somebody that knows how to put smiles on people's faces. That's the tool and the system and the way that I use send out cards. That's why I talk so much about send out cards, because it's the tool that enabled me to take my love and level it up, to take the way I built my salons one step further, and to be able to take it globally around the world, to put a piece of my heart on a card through a computer or a phone and send it all the way across the world for free into a stranger's heart to say, I'm sorry for the loss of your mother. I was a friend of hers. She was a great person, and I want you to know that. And here's a picture of a great time we had together. That person just went from a stranger to the best friend someone could ever want. And that's the art. That's why I wanted to connect with you guys here today. We are all in the people business. For those of you that are business owners, you're in the people business. For those of you in network marketing, you're in the people business. For those of you that are stay-at-home moms, you're in the biggest people business of them all. Because every day you're trying to convince your child that you're right and that he needs to listen to you. We are all in the people business. You guys, implement send out cards into your life and start loving on people abundantly. Mother's Day is coming. Send them a card with a picture of you and them in that card, with your words on that card. Send it to more than your mother. Send it to all the mothers that you know and tell them thank you for the role that you play in our world. Because mothers, no one can love like a mother, you guys. And if it wasn't for us mothers, you wouldn't be here. Get it? And that's my message today. All right, you guys, that's my pitch on network marketing. Embrace it, love it, learn it. It'll set you free. It can, if you just won't be a quitter. Just don't quit. I could have quit. I didn't quit. That's the X factor. Don't quit.